Work on the Ladder Chief stabilizer area began with filling in ejector pin marks on the exposed surfaces of these parts. Styrene discs were glued in place in the blue circled areas, and the red circles indicate raised marks. The same part, with everything sanded smooth. The mating part received a similar treatment, which is worthwhile because these surfaces will be visible on the finished model when the stabilizers are lowered. The kit's instructions show fully assembled stabilizers trapped between the two plates early in the assembly sequence. Stabilizer cylinders fit onto the molded-in pins. Then the other plate is set in place, trapping both the stabilizers and the cylinders in between. Because the stabilizers are a different color than the truck body, I prefer to keep them separate and install them later in the assembly sequence. To do this, I drilled out the holes in both vertical plates. Using a 1/16 diameter drill for pins that we made from 1/16 brass rod. Stabilizer components were assembled per the kit instructions, seams puttied, and the molded on attachment pins trimmed off. 1/16 diameter holes were drilled at the former cast-on mounting pin locations, and the matching holes in the vertical plates were also drilled out 1/16 to again fit 1/16 diameter brass mounting pins. Looking at the stabilizers on the real truck again, the square plates which make contact with the ground are smooth on the bottom surface rather than slotted the way the kit parts are molded. This is easily corrected by gluing a 10 thou piece of styrene to the bottom of the plate. The extra thickness is minimal, and in fact is largely cancelled out by the time you sand away the deep ejector pin marks highlighted in pencil here. This also retains the slots in the plates, allowing use of kit parts to assemble the plates onto the stabilizers. Kit parts were used for both the cylinder body and the extension ram, and these parts were improved by using aluminum tube, with the cylinder body being drilled out for 1/8 inch tube, and a piece of 3/32 tube cut to sleeve over top of the extension ram. Using the aluminum tube both improves the fit and the finished appearance, because the 3/32 tube that goes on the extension ram can be polished up to a chrome-like finish. Bolt head castings were also glued in place at the pivot points, where the extension ram and the foot pad attach to the stabilizer body. Fittings for the hydraulic hoses were simulated using 60 thou square styrene strip, drilled out to receive 20 thou brass wire. The strips were cut approximately 1/8 of an inch long, and the tapered cut on the end of the brass wire makes it easier to slide the hose material in place. Styrene discs were glued in place at either end of the cylinder body to provide the attachment points for the hydraulic fittings. The fittings were then glued in place, simulating a double-acting hydraulic cylinder. On the two forward cylinders, the fitting closest to the mounting pin was installed at an angle to make it easier to route the hoses. Finished parts ready for installation include the stabilizer assemblies with the extension rams attached, 3/32 aluminum tube sleeves for the extension rams, the cylinders, and brass mounting pins. Shorter pins will attach the cylinders, and the longer pins are to install the stabilizers. Vinyl air hose material from truck kits will provide the hydraulic hoses. One stabilizer assembly ready for installation. Brass discs were soldered to the ends of each mounting pin to both set the depth for installation and to make it easy to remove them during test fitting. Lengths of hydraulic hose fitted to one of the cylinders. And the cylinder in place with hoses routed through holes pre-drilled in the truck body. All 4 cylinders are now in place, and the hoses have been routed, with the ends terminating at the back panel where the stabilizer controls will be attached. On the real truck, these hoses would connect to valves. On the model, they simply terminate in a hole drilled at the back panel. The extension rams are slid into the cylinders, and the brass rod mounting pins are installed between the truck body and the stabilizers. Completed stabilizer installation, stowed for road travel. And extended for deployment of the aerial ladder. One of the ejector pin marks that was filled can be seen here. And although the hydraulic hose detail may not be 100% accurate, it is plausible and adds some detail to this empty space. The kit parts provide a good starting point, and with a little bit of added detail, modification, and alterations to the assembly sequence, can be made even better. The stabilizers will be taken off the model now, painted separately, and won't be reinstalled until final assembly. Thank you for watching this brief update, and I'll post some more progress reports in the future as time permits.